What's up, everybody? Henry from the PSI Defense channel coming to you with another video. As you see, I'm knee deep into this install of the SSD VKS block. Got my VKS bolt here. Got the Grimberg heat core O-ring installed. I don't know if you can see that or not. About to get some ultra silk on here. And I figured I'd let you guys in on what's going on. So originally, I was going to install this on the prototype Pepperball TCP. This has a VKS bolt in here, and this is a block here that was made to cover that up, bring it out, so it could be a carry that hits 50 joules. However, I've got my MP7 based on this Tiberius T9.1 that I would much rather have more power. And since I have a second Venom trigger that I want to install on that launcher, I figured I'd go ahead, break it down, re-thread tape all my fittings, put a new on-off on here, slide check rather, put a new slide check on there, get everything together, and then install a VKS bolt in this bad buddy, because this one carries the longer barrel, which will maximize that. Not only does it have a 9-inch barrel with a mock suppressor, but I also run a 13 CI 4500 PSI carbon fiber tank on it, outputting about 1100 PSI roughly. So I think that will give me most bang for the buck. Whereas having a carry that hits about 55, 60 joules is great. But yeah, for carry, I'm focused on that gavel at the moment. So let's go ahead and get some ultra silk on this bolt. All right, got my handy ultra silk brush here. Looks like it's time for me to re-up and get another tube. Need to call Caesar anyways, get some more stuff boom treated. All right. Go ahead and just dab my finger on there. That way I can smooth it all the way around quickly. All right, VKS bolt. All right, love that ultra silk. Put a little bit more on there. All right, while I'm at this stage, I'm gonna go ahead and see, there's the firing pin. It's got a flathead screw. It's got a flathead screw on the end. What I do with all of my launchers, particularly the ones that I sell, because this is really the only major weak point of the First Strike based blow forward mechanical system. And it's only a weak point if during assembly at the factory they did not install and Loctite this screw properly. That screw in the center there is what holds in the firing bolt, or the firing pin rather, sorry, this is the firing bolt. Inside is the firing pin. That's the firing pin screw. And Z-Ram sells a wonderful hardened steel screw, so whenever I find one of these are loose, then I replace it with the Z-Ram screw. I red Loctite it, I leave it alone for 24 hours. But what I'm doing here, I'm seeing if it's loose, giving it a little torque, and if it budges whatsoever, then I'm replacing it. This one seems to be pretty tight, so I'm gonna leave it alone, because at the factory, they actually set these with some very sophisticated equipment so that they're lined up properly. The best we can do is kind of fiddle around with it and attempt to get it to line up, but we're not going to get it to the factory spec unless we have those machines. So if it's not loose, I recommend not messing with it. I just dumped a whole bunch more Ultra Silk in there just so I've got a ton ready. So okay, here's my T9.1 body. I'm gonna just stick the VKS heat core in there. All right, I'll let it go down 2 clicks because that's basically where both of those O-rings are seated. As you see, has that little excess sticking out. Let me just test fit this here. All right, and there's the SSD piece, which I gotta say looks amazing. Looks incredible. I kind of like how the rounded end is here. In case you're not using an ASA, I would say I wish this was a little bit shorter. It wasn't as long because this only goes in about 1/4 of an inch or so. Then you have the rest of this block on the back, which looks good if it's just going to be this. But since I'm also going to stack the ASA on the back of it, then it's going to add quite a bit of depth there. So not complaining. Sorry, I don't have reference numbers for this pre-VKS bolt, but I will tell you guys that it was shooting about 52 to 54 joules prior to this upgrade modification. So okay, I'm getting ready to assemble it. Here's my ASA. Looks a little different because I'm running these hard lines to the top mounted tank of my MP7 build here. And Dan Sterling deleted the knob here for me. We filled that in. And I just went to Lowe's to get some screws. I'm probably gonna order the proper ones. These are 632 by 3 inches. So I'll probably take 632 by 2.5 inches. But I just took a bunch of number 6 locking washers. And it's not going to be the prettiest thing in the world, but it is going to be a proof of concept. So, all right, let me find another ASA O-ring to sit down on top of that. I know I got a ton of them. Alrighty, here we go. All right, so I'm just gonna set that right on top of here. And this would be the same for your FSC. The difference is for your FSC, you're not gonna have this hollow grub screw. So you're gonna need one of those that goes down in there. Again, it's 632 is the threads that this takes. And that screw comes with the ASA kit. So if you're not running an ASA, you're gonna have to source one of those screws. Not exactly sure where you could go about getting one, but where there's a will, there's a way. You know what I'm saying, guys? So, all right, just gonna set that down. I know that's a horrible angle. Just gonna set that down right on top of there. And I've got my screws for my ASA threaded right on there. So make sure that you have the O-ring on the bottom of your ASA if you're using that. I'm just gonna run that straight down here. It's not gonna be super pretty initially, but I'm just going to order hardened steel Allen head screws to go in there that'll fit properly. All right, so 632 by 2.5 inches is what you guys are gonna need if you wanna use his kit on top of an ASA. So just to show you guys, this is what it's going to look like. Fortunately for me, I have this big old MP7 kit. What I have to do is Dremel out the back so that that whole ASA block is going to have to now come out of the back there, which is no biggie. All you're going to see on this one is going to be black. And those silver screws, which is going to get fixed eventually. So, all right, there's that. So always, whenever you have your regulator off, before you put it back on, slide your bolts forward. It'll save you a lot of heartache. Well, I got this open. Go ahead and slap some Ultra Silk on this trigger group. It's a good thing about having one of these brushes. See, I can push the return back and then get a lot of Ultra Silk in between the return and the rotator. You can see this curve right here. The curve where those two pieces ride on each other, that has the most friction in this whole operation. So you definitely want to get that. If nothing else, that's the part where you want to drop some oil or do some Ultra Silk or whatever you do to lubricate your internals. Definitely want to get that part. All right, there we go. And I'm actually, while I have this apart, going to replace the regulator spring also. Hopefully I have one of those washers in here. Which I do, so you have a washer in there. But the regulator spring, I'll go grab another one, I'll show you. Sometimes it gets crushed. Okay, here's the new spring. And next to the old spring. Yep, there's definitely a difference there. The old spring has gotten crushed down. So I'm installing a new one. Go ahead and Ultra Silk it. It does get some friction. There's some friction loss involved there. You want it to slide freely and smoothly. Alrighty. I'm going to do it without that washer. Okay. I usually do when I reassemble these. Get it to where it's flush. Spin it to about 13, 14 turns. That's how I know it's almost to the end. $13, $14. All right, there's bottom out. Quarter turn back. All right, that's what I do. Okay, my bolt is forward. Regulator is going on. All right, regulator screw. All righty. And now, let's get this beautiful Venom trigger installed. All right, don't forget your O-ring that holds it on. All right, I don't quite have the technique that I'm using to get this in here 100% of the time. So what I'm doing, see, with my index finger, I'm holding the O-ring. With my thumb, I am compressing the spring. And what I'm basically doing is just trying to get the spring through there. All right, spring is in. So yeah, that appears to work. Boom. All right, get my pin. Little tap, not lined up, move it a little bit. There we go. All right, pin is in. Now, you put your safety spring right there. Close it up. Get this nut right there where it goes with the screw. And tighten that up. Yeah, I will tell you with these custom triggers, it is more difficult to engage and disengage the safety, but it is plastic, so I think once you exercise it enough, then it won't be an issue. But I mean, the action on the trigger is just so worth it. All right, so there is that. I'm going to put the front of the MP4 kit on. I got the Odin GLM riding on there. It's pretty amazing laser tack light. Highly recommend it. Okay. The way the front end is held in place is by tightening these two rail screws on the MP7 kit. Let's see. Yeah. Definitely have enough room to attach my mounting hardware to the end of that rail, which is good news for this project. So now to continue, I'm going to have to Dremel the inside of the back half of this MP7 kit so that that can fit through there. So I'm going to pause the video and do that, and I will come back with the finished results. All right, y'all, got assembly finished on the MP7V. This is my T9.1 with the MP7 kit. VKS bolt. And that's all you can see of the hardware. 13 CI tank. Carbon Fiber Hero 2 tank. Crimson Trace red dot. Slide check on off. Spec Ops metal magazine full of Grimberg Jewel V2s. I've got a .686 caliber eBay barrel on here with a T9.1 stock mock suppressor. I had a Labco one, it's skinnier, but I think this fat one looks better on this MP7. I've got an Olight Odin GLM laser green light, which I have a video on. It's an amazing tack light. Magpul angle foregrip. Instinct Industries index mag release, and venom trigger. Also have a sling mount here. Not for sale. So all right, got the VKS bolt installed. So I'm gonna go out and get some chrono numbers. Pre-VKS bolt, I was getting 54 joules from this puppy. Now let's see what we get now. All right guys, here we go. Velocity test, MP7V. $470. $462. It's absolutely demolishing my trap. Well, it's $428. I don't know why it's such a big drop. $446. $454. $460. Holy crap, I mean, $460. Get a load of this. That's all I'm shooting in my poor trap tonight. Look at that. Absolutely obliterated my Kevlar. So, all right, there is the MP7 V, T9.1 based, less lethal launcher with VKS bolt and SSD VKS bolt kit. I don't think you can see it in there, but there she goes, fellas. All right, that's it for this video. You guys make sure you take care of each other and yourselves. Show some love today, guys. Like, share, and subscribe. I'll holler.